How you doing, Bobby? Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. It looks like the passing game really reached its peak against UCLA. What, in your opinion, really changed from that game until today?
I think it's just the game plan, and trying to find a way to win. I think we realize that, with personnel and what we can do in the run game, it's really beneficial to us. It gives us our best opportunity to win, and when we need to throw the ball, we will. And I think we've answered that opportunity when it comes. But I think it's just more about the game plan and trying to find a way to win each week.
Hey, Bobby. Chris Carmen, Son of a Source. Personnel kind of limited in that last game. That sort of narrows, I'm sure, what you guys felt like you could do. How did you feel like it went in light of those circumstances?
More specifically, the receivers you're asking? Or
Yeah, just the fact that you had no Andre Johnson, no Johnny Wilson, no Jordan Porter, and that's like a third of your guys.
Yeah, it still fits, pretty much what we're preaching in the rooms. Just next guy up, next opportunity, and just preparing like a starter. I thought we made strides with Brian Thompson and his ability to be able to bounce back, and from a tough week, I thought to see him show up was really big of him. We really needed that senior leadership. Made some really big plays, third downs and fourth downs. And then, Ricky's just been extremely consistent. He prepares that way, and he's always available to make plays. And then LV and, the group guys are starting to figure out where they're at and how they're fitting in. And, it's unfortunate, we got, GP left in that situation. But the guys are still ready. They're eager for their opportunities. They know we're playing on still a good football team. I think we understand our roles as receivers that, we're going to have to participate in the run scheme and be a big part of the perimeter blocking. But at the same time, we got to make plays, in the passing game. So, any opportunities we get, we're just preaching that they're prepared and they get that chance to capitalize on it.
Just to follow up on that. Are there any of the young guys or maybe even walk-ons that we might not be seeing in practices who are on the cusp of maybe getting more opportunities?
Junior would be the next guy, I would think, as a freshman coming in. I think he's starting to get a feel for the speed of the game. He does a lot of work with the scout team, but it's really good for him to be able to work against our, defensive backs that are, seniors and starters. It's really good for him to see the speed and then understanding the operation. Hasn't been getting an awful lot of reps with the offensive group, but that ability to be able to transition from high school to college, him playing on the scout team really helps. Obviously, we want to get Elijah really going. More opportunities with him on the field just gives him more looks. Trying to figure out the way to balance that and then, also run the football. So it's tough, but I think we're up to the challenge as a group. And the more guys we can get on the field, the more opportunities, just the better they'll get.
Coach Michael Carrasino, Believe in Pac-12 Football. To kind of piggyback off that, obviously Rashad's big game. Coach, we know Herm wants to run the ball, obviously, but when he has a big game like that, do you see, looking down the line, obviously the last 3 games, that it'll open up the passing game even more?
Definitely. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a fan of running the ball first and then throwing, and you got to have a healthy mix of it, obviously. But I think the better we are in the run game, definitely, the more we're going to get packed boxes, and guys need to be prepared to make plays on the perimeter. And I think our group is well aware of, what that means, including with them blocking. The more that they're a physical group on the perimeter, the better opportunities they'll have in the pass game, and the easier it is for them to run routes and get open and get separation, which is, ultimately what we need.
Bobby, you mentioned Brian and his struggles against Washington State. How did you help? That's not easy to do, to bounce back in over a week's time. How did you help him with that?
That's tough. That was probably the hardest thing that I had to go through with him, because you want to find a way to challenge a player like that to step up to the call. And, it was a tough decision at halftime. I made a decision to sit him down in that game to give Andre Johnson and Elijah Badger more opportunities. And I think that moment between just me and him, coach and player, I think we grew an awful lot. Just him understanding that I'm going to hold him accountable, to be a performer, which is ultimately what it's about. And B, just to be a leader, to see how he'll respond to it. He really responded outstanding. He was still on special teams in that game, played very well on special teams, came to practice with an attitude to get better, and had his best week of practice, and it just showed on Saturday. So I was extremely excited about that.
Did you know early in the week in practice that he was going to be okay, that he was going to get through that?
Yeah, I believed in him right away, no doubt about it. I never lost faith or hope in his faith, I should say, in his ability and what he can do. It's just more about the mental part of that. You know, it's really tough to go through that, and then with the loss too, right? You know, you have opportunities, you drop a touchdown, you know, you drop another ball, you got the fumble. It's tough to recover from that. Being a player who's played that position, who's actually been in his shoes, I definitely understand what it does mentally. But you look for hope. You look for somebody to believe in you, which is exactly what I told him. He'll still be the starter next week. It'll be more about how he handles the adversity versus than what actually happened. Nobody's down on him. He's still a captain in the room, and he needs to play well.
And just one last thing. You mentioned Elijah. I mean, he did some great things in the spring, and he's been kind of dynamic when he has gotten opportunities. What does he need to do more just to get more reps out there on game days?
He just needs to continue to do the right things, which he's been doing. You know, he needs to study. The more that he knows, the more opportunities he gets. It's tough for him right now because we're kind of pushing him between two different positions. So, you know, we're trying to get him prepared mentally to play and whatever opportunities we can push him in at X and Z. So it's just about getting him on the field more. You know, the more that we can get him more reps, whether it be run game or pass game, the more comfortable he'll get and the better rapport he'll get with Jaden. So, and that's what we're trying to build with him. You know, there'll be small steps, but him as an individual has been doing really well. You know, the things that we've asked him to do, so he'll continue to get more opportunities.
So, Bobby, even though Washington's having a tough year, their secondary is still maybe the best in the Pac-12. They really have that track record, I would say, the last couple of years. From your point of view, is it really just more pure talent, scheme? What makes that secondary so strong?
Yeah, they got a really good secondary. I think they have a lot of speed back there. They got guys with experience. You know, they play with a lot of confidence. And I think their scheme is good. You know, they're the more zone team, so they play really well together. They're very good with, like, route recognition and understanding, you know, guys' splits and alignments and things like that. It's the details that they really hone in on that gives them an edge. So for us, it's going to be the same exact thing. We're going to have to lock into the details and, you know, give no indicators and try to be, you know, very precise when we're running routes and, you know, also get after them in the run game. You know, if we can continue to do that, I think it, like I said earlier, to help us in our pass game. So it'll be a good challenge. They're a very good defense collectively as a whole. And then in the secondary, they're really good.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Bobby, passing game struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks. Do you feel like the receivers are still trying to get used to Jaden? And Herm had mentioned that with guys in and out of the lineup, it's been some inconsistency as far as who's been in there with him. So how much do you think that has played a role in maybe how the passing game has kind of struggled lately?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to do with, you know, guys being on the same page. You know, sometimes, you know, guys, you know, you might miss an opportunity on the outside, then we might miss a pass. So we just got to find a way to continue to gel together, you know, be cohesive and just guys be on the same page. What's really good, I think, is that when we need a play, we're still making those plays, third and fourth downs and things like that. Now we just need to find a way to lock in on the big plays, you know, the ones that really change the game. So hopefully we'll get an opportunity this week for that.
You've moved Ricky around a lot, increasingly over the last several weeks. How has he handled that, and what have you thought about his performances?
Rick has been really good. You know, it's a challenge to go from out to in and then different personnel sets that we have. You know, he's playing Y, Z, H, so a lot on his plate, but he's absolutely handled it like a pro. I think he's been really focused. His preparation throughout the week in the classroom and then carrying it onto the field, you can really see it. I think the biggest thing about Rick is he loves football. So he'll really work hard at it, and you can see it when it comes to Saturday. And plus, he loves having fun. So, you know, playing the game to him is fun. He enjoys working on it and concentrating on having those opportunities, and he doesn't like missing them. So with that, he'll continue to focus really hard at it. But he's been doing really well.